Hello, this is remake number 2 of Convicted, the end of my career as a thief. Convicted. And I'm remaking this, and I'm sorry I put it out last night and some of you watched it. I'm remaking it for two reasons. One, it went longer than I wanted it to. And mainly, number two, I used a racial slur in that video, and I should not have. Granted, the racial slur that I used had to do with my own race, white. I said poor white trash, kind of lightheartedly, but really should not use those. Somebody might take it wrong. So I kind of regret having said that. I don't want to offend anyone or mislead anybody or misrepresent myself, you know. So I'm going to remake it, but I'm going to strive to keep these videos under 15 minutes from now on. Under 15 minutes, and I'm going to buy a little hourglass, but until that happens, hey Google, set timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
There it is. Alright, this story is about, it's not a story, it's conviction, and actually has a spiritual message to it, as it should. When I was a teenager, I've always striven my entire life to be very honest. But I could be led astray. You know, when I was like 13 or 14, I hung out with my best friend, and we went to church together, we worked together, we went to school together, we were in sports together in school, and, you know, we hung out together a lot. And so we got in a lot of trouble too. And he was a thief. At the time, I was not a thief. When I say a thief, the guy would take, if he was sitting around, he'd take your wallet, take your purse, he'd shoplift quite a bit. And I used to tell him I didn't think it was good. Didn't make any difference what I said. He had sticky fingers, you know. And he got a reputation, you know, as we were just kids, 13, 14. But if he came over to visit, you know, you had him over for the weekend or something at my place or somebody else, there would tended to be a tendency of things coming up missing in the house. So he had a reputation as a bit of a thief. He never ripped me off. He had this kind of thief code, you know, or something silly like that. He's not a thief anymore, but I'm just saying this is when we were young teenagers. Well, he used to shoplift, and I thought the shoplifting, I kind of got a kick out of it. He got away with this stuff, you know. We'd go to the store, and I'd pay for my stuff. He'd come out and pull all this stuff out of his pants and his shirt, you know, mine, and this big grin on his face, you know. And as a kid, I thought that was kind of cool. I hate to say it. And he talked me into shoplifting, and the first time I shoplifted, at around age 13, maybe 14, 13. Yeah, 13. I got away with it, and I got a real thrill out of it. You know, I got the thrill, I got away with it. And, you know, so we started shoplifting regularly. I started shoplifting on a regular basis for a short period of time. Then one time we used to have a paper route where in the middle of our town was a big hill where all the rich people seemed to live. And if somebody else named it, we called it Snob Hill. Nobody hated anybody. It was just kind of a joke, Snob Hill. And because that seemed where all the rich people lived up on the hill. And the rest of us lived down at the bottom of the hill in the village. I don't think these people were that rich, honestly, looking back at it. So we're delivering papers, and we're up at the top of Snob Hill in Sodus, S-O-D-U-S, New York. They probably still call it that. And we used to cut at the end of our paper route. We'd deliver papers to this one house, and then we'd cut down and go down. We'd cut through this guy's yard that we delivered the paper to, and go down the hill through the woods, a steep hill through the woods, and it was a big time shortcut back to the village where we lived. And we cut through this guy's yard once, and I'll never forget, this guy really did say this. He really earned the title snob. You know, when he yelled at us, we're just 13-year-old kids. You know, I mean, I got kids around here that play pranks and stuff. I would never insult them, you know. I just think it's karma for all the dumb stuff I did. But he said to us, get the blah-de-blah out of his yard, and he went on to say, and I remember this, he said, your kind belongs on the streets, not in my yard, not here. And ooh, well, we cut through his yard anyway and went down the hill. But after that, we kind of targeted him. By targeting him, I think my friend threw some eggs. We threw some eggs on his property. I'm not sure if I did. I know my friend did. Come by and egged it. And seems like I did. And my friend found out, I wasn't with him when he found this out, but the guy had a lot of fishing tackle in his garage. And lo and behold, we fished a lot. Sodus, New York, has Sodus Point and Sodus Bay, which are on Lake Ontario, and the fishing is fantastic. You can catch all kinds of fish there. So fishing tackle was important. That's probably something we shoplifted. Mostly all we shoplifted were things, we didn't smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol or do any drugs. Video games really hadn't, they were just starting out. So we read paperback books of science fiction. We read comic books still, and we shoplifted candy. So candy, paperback, sci-fi books, and comic books. And probably fishing gear, fishing tackle, because we fished a lot. And so we planned this thing out, my friend and I, to go up there and steal that guy's fishing tackle out of his garage. And we planned it all out on paper, like a big fantasy from the movies, honestly. It was a big thief adventure, and we went out at night. We wore black and black stockings. It was a big adventure in a bad way, thief. And we got in there and we took all his fishing tackle, and it was quite a lot, like 2 big tackle boxes and a lot of really nice poles. And we got home with it. We got away with it. And I'm not proud of this. This is when I was about 13 or 14. I think it was that week I shoplifted one more time at our local drugstore, took some more candy and paperback books and comic books, the usual stuff. And I got home and suddenly God convicted me because I believed in God all this time. I consider myself a Christian. I've been baptized at 12. So what am I doing? And all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, look at it. And all of a sudden, bang, right there. And it hit me hard. What are you doing? You're stealing. I'm like, well, hey, it's really nothing. You're stealing. You're not supposed to steal. You're a Christian. It's right in there. The 10 Commandments, 10 things God takes very seriously. One of them is don't steal. Don't lie is in there too. Stealing and lying go hand in hand. They're both a theft. One of property, one of trust. You know, you're not supposed to be stealing. I'm like, oh, ooh, that hit hard. When God convicts you of something, don't push it away. Don't turn away from it. When you get that conviction, you've done something wrong, or you're about to do something wrong, when you get that conviction that God puts on your soul, embrace it. Embrace it and hang on to it. Keep you out of trouble. You thank God for it. Don't ignore it, because the more you ignore that soul conviction, the quieter and quieter that's going to be, till pretty soon you don't even hear it anymore. And it becomes very easy to do wrong things. So, no. All right. So, at any rate, I was convicted. I never stole again. That was it. The end. I was convicted by God. I never got caught shoplifting by anybody in my little brief career as a thief. I don't think my friend did either. So I talked to my friend about this, and he agreed, and we got all the tackle back, all of it. He was a little upset, but he went along with it. We went to church together, him and I. You know, that's what people did back then, more than they do now. We went to church Sunday, we went to the service, and we were in a youth group. We were very active in the church. So he gave his part, and I took all that man's fishing tackle back at nighttime, slipped out of the house, you know, which I was pretty good at, climbing out my window and down the porch, you know. And I put it back in his yard right in front of his porch. And then I went to the drugstore. I told my mother about it. I repented. I told my mother, well, I didn't tell her about getting the tackle because that could get me in trouble with the law. I'm not really sorry. I took the man's tackle back. I made it right. Put it right in front of his porch, every bit of it. Every bit of it. And then I told my mom, I stole some things from the drugstore. And she was so proud of me. And she said, what are you going to do about it? Something along those lines. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take it all back. And I'm going to tell the store manager what I've done. And I'm going to give back what he could use. And I'll pay for it, whatever. So she said she was very proud of me. And I had it all in a paper bag. And I went back to the drugstore, gave the man... And I sat down with the store manager. He was a young guy then, and looked like he was about 30. And he's an old man now, if he's alive at all. But he was so nice. He was a perfect role model. God, I don't remember what he said, but he was a really good role model. He was really happy with me for bringing the stuff back. And some of it he could use, you know, because I hadn't had it long. Like the paperback books went back on the shelf. I said I'd pay for the candy and stuff, and I think I did. I don't remember if I did or not, but I didn't get any trouble. The guy was really touched. He was really happy that I did that, and he really had, you know, certain people, you don't even know their names in your life. They have an impact. You remember them. You don't even know what their name was. It's some kind person, and you could be that person too. You never know, and same here. So it's the little things that count. Let me wrap this up. I don't know how much time I've got, but I'm going to try to keep it 15 minutes. When that goes off, then I'll cut it short. Conviction of the Spirit is a spiritual gift, and there's a lot written on the Bible about it. And let me read a couple verses real quick. I got to be quick. I'm on a timer now. I had a few verses, all right? 3 verses. Acts 24:16. This being so, I myself always strive to have a conscience without offense towards God and men. Again, another in Hebrews 13:18, Paul says, pray for us. We are convinced that we have a clear conscience and a desire to live honorably in every way. And one more in Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians 1 through 5, or verse 1. Sorry, 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 5. For our gospel did not come to you in word only, but also in power and in the Holy Spirit and with full conviction, just as you know what kind of men we prove to be among you for your sake. And I want to point out in Acts 24:16, he says, this being so, I myself always strive to have a good conscience without offense towards God and men. Strive. That means he works at it. It's not just something that happens and you're set for life. Now you've got a good spiritual, conscience. What am I saying? Conviction, spiritual conviction. If you have a weakness, be it, in this case it was stealing, I didn't have to pray to God. God already convicted me. And I stopped. I repented. I made it right. I confessed as much as I could. I didn't confess about getting to that guy's garage, but I did bring him his stuff back. I didn't want to go to jail or go to court. I would have gotten in big trouble. Wouldn't have been ugly. But I made it right. I never did it again. I didn't do it anymore. And just like God convicted me when I was going out with my .22 rifle, about the same year, maybe a year or two later, and I was shooting birds and rabbits and squirrels, and I wasn't eating them. It was just game. And God convicted me that that was wrong, that not to kill those little animals if I didn't need to. Convicted me hard. You know what I did? I sold all my guns. I had a bunch of guns. My parents let me buy guns. 22 shotguns, BB guns. I think I even had a pistol. Yeah, I did. And I sold them all. And I said, I'm never going to hunt again. Never. Unless I need the food. So I got convicted of that. Now, I have to tell myself sometimes, now I'm a very honest person. I strive to be honest, like Paul said he strives. Sometimes I got to ask God, Lord, put a spirit of conviction so that anything, if I ever utter a lie, Lord, if I ever utter a lie, convict me of it on the spot. If a lie ever leaves my mouth, convict me of it. Because I want to be the most honest person I can be. That's a goal. That's a personal goal of mine. And if your problem is lust, and you're only human, you know, it's summertime and the clothes get skimpier and skimpier, you know, ask God, God help me with lust. If I have a lustful eye towards somebody, that I would look away from it. Convict me of it. And he will. He'll give you a little nudge, you know, on your soul, saying, hey, don't do that. Or maybe your problem is certain food or cigarettes or alcohol or anything, whatever it may be. Oh, I got to wrap this up. But whatever your problem may be, ask God to give you a spirit of conviction to help you with that. And ask that often. And when God puts that on your heart, saying, hey, don't do that, whatever it may be, your weakness that you're trying to overcome, that you're trying to overcome a weakness. And when he nudges you in the heart saying, that's wrong, that's what you're doing is wrong, don't push it aside. Don't ignore it. Go to it and embrace it and thank God for reminding you. And then continue to pray on a regular basis for a spirit of conviction to help you with whatever you're trying to get help with. And I'm awful preachy in these, somebody said, and I agree. But you know, we're supposed to. Christ called us to do this. Jesus called us to do this. So you ain't got to believe what I say, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not a priest. But things happen in your life and in my life. It's your testimony. This is part of my testimony. When God convicted me to stop stealing, you have testimonies too. And that's all. I'm going to start trying to keep these 15 minutes. So this one over 50 is probably like 17. All right, shut up, Tim. Thank you, and God bless you. Yeah, I guess I don't get to make a wish.